Okay, so this afternoon we want to talk about how to repeat things in Python. Repetition is very, very important, and Python comes with uh, tools for doing that same repetition. Now, there are two ways you can do this. You can repeat a particular task for a certain known number of times, or it might be a situation whereby you do not really know ahead of time how many times you can actually repeat something, because maybe you have set a condition which says as long as a particular condition is true, then you repeat. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yes. So it's possible to repeat for a certain predetermined number of times, or you repeat a particular thing as long as certain conditions are met. There are two ways in which to carry out repetitions or loops in Python, and that is using something called a while loop and also another thing called a for loop. So hopefully this afternoon we are going to look at these two ways of conducting repetitions using a while loop and also using a for loop, so that next week we move on to something else, that is how to open files and also how to read information from a file, especially a text file, which is what you're interested in. Okay. So by the end of this lesson you should be able to know, you will learn how to do a repetition using a while loop, and also how to skip certain things inside the while loop by using something called continue, and basically different ways in which you want to repeat things. Basically that's what we're going to look at. So the way a while loop works is that as long as a particular condition is true excuse me, as long as a particular condition is true, then Python is going to execute a certain piece of code. So basically the way that it works is as follows. You start with while, so you have to type while, then after the while you give a condition. We have seen how to create conditions by using equal to, not equals, greater than, less than, greater than or not greater than, or less than or equals to. And if you've got multiple things you want to test, you can either use the and, or, and the not thing, those things. So we have seen how to create a condition. So the same conditions are what we're going to see. So as long as the condition is true, then you want to carry out a certain piece of code, a certain task. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yes. So that's how a while loop works. A while loop is going to execute this code under the while loop as long as the condition is true. However, certain things are needed for this to work, because one, clearly if nothing changes, then if a condition is true, it can be true forever. So that is going to crash your computer. So there's always a special variable which we include with a while loop, and that variable is called a counter. The purpose of this variable called a counter is to count how many times a loop has been run. Okay? We count how many times a loop has been run by either increasing the value of the counter or reducing the value of the counter until this particular condition becomes untrue or becomes false. Are we clear?
Yes.
There is a special variable called a counter. So we're going to give this value a counter when we start. Before we enter the while loop, we give this counter a certain value. Then after we give a counter a certain value, then the value which is given by the counter, we carry out a certain check. Okay? Then after we carry out the certain check, if that check is true, if that condition test is true, then we enter the while loop. Then inside the while loop, we execute something. Then as you are executing something, we are either going to slowly, every time we execute this code, we are either going to increase the counter or we're going to reduce the counter. I think it would be easy if we actually see what we mean. Okay, so for example here, our counter here is the variable number. Okay, so this is before the while loop. Our counter is a variable number and we give it a value of 0. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so before the while loop, you set the value of the counter to some number. For example, here we're starting with 0. Okay, now next, here is a while loop. So it says while, okay, that's a while. Then this is a condition. Number is less than 10. You see how it works? So you set the number out before the while loop, you give the number, the variable number, a certain value, then you carry out this condition. You check for this condition while number is less than 10. Then after the condition, there is a colon that basically says that you have finished writing your test, your conditional test. Then what is the computer supposed to do? So here we are saying print number. That's what you're saying here. We are saying, okay, if that's the case, then print number. Is this clear? So you want to print number. Then the other thing also you want to do is you want to, apart from just printing number, you want to do something. You want to change the value of number. After printing it, you want to change the value of number. So here we increase, because number is 0, right? So here we increase number 0 plus 1. We want to give number, we increase it by 1, then we store this new value back in number. Are we clear? So the value of, so it's going to print here, it's going to print 0, then the value of number is going to be increased by 1 here. Okay, so it's going to be 1 instead of 0. Is that clear?
Yes.
Next, we'll check again this condition. After increasing the number, we'll check this condition. Number less than 10. So now number has a value of 1. Number less than 10 is true. Is that clear?
Yes.
So we'll print this number again. So we'll print 1. After printing 1, we'll increase the value of number to 2. Then we'll check again. Number less than 10. So now number is 2. So 2 less than 10, that is true. Are we clear?
Yes.
So we'll print number again. We'll keep on doing this until number is equals to 10. Because when number is equals to 10, when you say number less than 10, 10 less than 10, that is going to be a false. So it will stop printing numbers. So when you run this, this is what we get. There. So it prints out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is what we mean by carrying out repetitions. We are repeating the printing of number a certain number of times, specifically 10 times. Do you have any questions on what has happened here? Or have you understood why things have happened the way they've happened?
It's clear.
Okay. Now, if you want to print number right now, outside, then we'll say print number. We want to see what the value of number is. Print number right now. Then you say print number. you see that number has a value of 10. You see this?
Yes.
Yes. So number is having a value of 10. So it is always important that when you're doing a while loop, once you run it like this, you always need to reset the counter to a desired number. You always need to reset the counter. And that's what we do here. Okay? You always need to reset the counter to a certain desired value. And this is the reason why the thing stopped, because number was 10. Okay, if number is 10, then it stops. Down here. So basically it was 10 less than 10. 10 less than 10, we know that is false. So if it is false, then the computer is going to stop printing any numbers. Are we clear?
Yes.
So the computer carries out this printing of numbers as long as the condition is true. If the condition becomes false, then the computer will stop printing the numbers. Basically, when it stops printing the numbers, we say it stops running the loop or it exits the loop. Okay. Again, we repeat the same thing. Now we make a slight change. Here, we printed number first, then we increase the value of number later. Okay, so we're going to make a small change. We're going to increase the value of number, then print. Okay, so here we've got the loop there. So increase. So we set number to 0 again, because why are we setting number to 0? Because number has a value of 10 at the moment. So if you want it to work again, we need to give it a new value. We need to change the value from 10 back to 0. That's why we're doing this. So we set number to 0. Then after we set number to 0, we check. So while number is less than 10, number is 0, 0 less than 10, that is true. So what do we want to do? So in this case, what we want to do is we want to increase the counter before we print. So number is 0 at the moment, but we want to increase the counter by 1. We want to increase the counter by 1. Then after increasing the counter by 1, then we want to print. So if number is equals to 0, then we increase the value of number by 1. Here, number is equals to 0, we increase the value of number by 1, so it becomes 1. Then we print number. What we're going to start with is not 0, like here. We're going to start printing from 1. There. So print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. Are we clear?
Yes.
Again, if we want to check the value of number, number is still 10. So when it reaches 10 less than 10, this condition becomes false, then it stops. Are we clear?
Yes.
So you need a couple of things when you're carrying out repetitions using a while loop. One, you need a variable which is called a counter, which is this number, and you're going to give this counter a certain value. Then you're going to use this counter in this condition, because like in this case, right now we know how many times we want this thing to happen. We want it to happen less than it. We want this thing to run 10 times. So we say while number is less than 10, then we increase number, then we print number. So this thing is going to run 10 times. So right now we know how many times it's going to run. It's going to run 10 times. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can use a while loop to run Python code a certain specific number of a certain number of times. You can determine ahead of time how many times you want this thing to run. Okay. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Sometimes maybe right now, as you can see, we are printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is a combination of odd and even numbers. We are printing all of them, odd numbers and even numbers. Maybe you do not want to print the odd numbers, you just want to print the even numbers. So how are you going to be able to skip some of the numbers? Okay, how are you going to be able to skip some of the numbers? So you have to check if each number you have is an odd number or it's an even number. Are we clear?
Yes.
If it's an odd number, if it's an even number, you're going to print it. If it's an odd number, then you want to skip it. So how do you skip things? How do you skip output in Python? For you to skip output in Python, you have to use this thing called continue. So let us see how it works. So here, as you can see, right now, number has a value of 10, so we can't use the value of 10 because it's not going to work. So we put back number, we set it back to 0 here. Then we check if number is less than 10. Yeah, it's got a value of 0. So this condition is true. So this thing is going to run. Okay. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to increase the value of number. Okay, by 1. Then after increasing the value of number by 1, so number is going at the certain value. Then next we want to check if number is an even number or it is an odd number. Are we clear?
Yes.
How do we check if a number is an even number or an odd number? How do you know that a number is an even number or an odd number? How do you check if a number is even or odd?
I'm saying you check if even, and then the numbers that are even, like 2, 4, 6, will show up there once you
No,
print.
how do you know that a number is even? How do you know that a number is even or odd number?
The numbers that are divisible by 2 are even.
What do you mean by divisible by 2? What does it mean when you say the number is divisible by 2?
These are... I don't know how best to state that, but I know the even numbers. That's 2, 4, 6, all those numbers that can be divided by 2.
So if you divide them by 2, what happens?
Pardon?
When you divide these numbers by 2, what happens? What do you get?
Maybe I haven't got your question correct.
I'm saying, how do you know that a number is even or a number is odd?
Using Python?
No, just in real life. If I give you a certain number, how are you going to know that this number is even or is odd?
I think the same answer that I've given. Like numbers that are even, 2 can go into them without leaving any remainder.
That's the point. If you divide this number by 2, there will be no remainder. The remainder is going to be 0. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, that's how you know that the number is even. So if you divide this number by 2, the remainder is going to be 0. Otherwise, if there is a remainder, then that number is not divisible by 2. And therefore it's odd. So we do the same thing. That's a check we carry out here. we are saying if number divided by 2, this, you divide number by 2 and the remainder is equals to 0. Remember this percent sign?
Yes.
That's a sign for the remainder. So if you divide a number by 2, then the remainder is equals to 0, then what do you want to do? We want to print out number. We want to print out number. We print number. Are we clear?
Yes.
We want to print number. Else, if there is a remainder which is not equals to 0, then don't do anything. So here we say skip. Skip. Skip and do nothing. So here, as you can see, with this setup, you will only be printing numbers which are divisible by 2. If a number is not divisible by 2, then don't do anything. And how do you tell Python not to do anything? We just tell it to continue what it's doing. Are we clear?
Yes.
So in this case, when you run this is what we get. So we get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 are not printed. Because when this thing is carried out, the remainder of dividing number by 2, when it's not equals to 0, then you come this side. Because now this condition becomes false. When it's true, when the number is divisible by 2, you print the number. When it's not equals to 0, then this condition becomes false. When it becomes false, then you come here, you do nothing, just skip. And to go to the other number, check the other numbers. Are we clear?
Kindly repeat the statement you just said. The network was breaking.
I'm saying that if the number is divisible by 2, we'll print it. Because this condition is going to be true. If you can divide the number by 2, then you get a remainder of 0. This makes this thing to be true. Are we clear?
Yes.
Then because it's true, we can print the number. Print it out. Otherwise, if it's not true, then we just skip and do nothing. So here we say else if remainder. So there is a remainder. Here there is a remainder. We don't do anything. There is a remainder. We don't do anything. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can also use a while loop. For example, you want to do something, but you don't know when you want to end. Okay? So you want to do something and we don't know when you want to end. In that case, you can use a while loop and you can set a condition which will make your thing to end. So for example, here we're going to ask a person who is using a computer thing to type something, then we'll repeat whatever they have typed. So that's a prompt we're creating, and that's going to be like that. Then we'll add something, enter quit. So we want them to do this. If they type quit, then we'll end the program. So that, tell me something and I'll repeat back after you. Yeah, then enter quit to end the program. Let me actually just do this. Let's do it. Okay, then I'll remove this. Also remove this. Then, yeah. You can just say actually, just say print prompt. So we'll just print this. So basically this is what we want to show somebody. Okay, tell me something and I'll repeat it back to you. Enter quit to end the program. So as long as this person has told you something and that something they've told you is not equals to quit, then you want to continue asking them to enter something. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, we want to continue showing them this message. We want to continue showing them this message as long as what they have typed is not quit. So here we create a variable, a kind of counter, a variable message, and this is an empty string, so it doesn't have anything. Okay, so next we ask, while, because it's empty, we haven't put anything there, so it's empty, right? So we say while message not equals to quit, this is empty, it's an empty string, definitely it's not equals to quit. Then we want to ask the person to enter something, then whatever they're going to enter, we're going to put it in message, then we'll print it back to them. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so here we start with an empty message, then we check if message is equals to quit. It's not equals to quit, so we'll ask them to enter something, then we'll print it back. We'll store the message in whatever they've entered in message, then we'll print it back. So when we run this, this is what we see. Tell me something and I'll repeat it back to you. Enter quit to end the program. So I can say, hello Brian. Glad. Then what does it do? It prints out hello Brian. Then after printing out hello Brian, it checks. After it prints out hello Brian here, you've seen the message, print message. That message which I entered, which is hello Brian here, has been printed there. Okay? Are we clear?
Yes.
After it prints out hello Brian, it's going to check if the message which is hello Brian is equals to quit, is not equals to quit. So clearly hello Brian is not equals to quit. If hello Brian is not equals to quit, then it shows you the same tell me something and I'll repeat it after you. So we're going to enter another message, say Rachel is not here. It's not here with us today. So that's a message. Again, it repeats. So this message I've entered is stored in message. Then we print out the message, which is what we have here. Is that clear?
Yes.
I could continue doing this for a number of times I don't know, until I feel like it's time to quit. So if it's time to quit, then I can type quit. If I type quit, then there I type quit, but after typing quit, the quit message is also printed out. But now it has stopped, at least. You see that? we entered quit, but it proceeded to print out the quit message also, but it has stopped at least. That's a good thing, it has stopped, but it's still not good enough, because ideally what we want to do is, after the quit thing, you don't want it to print anything. Okay? You don't want your program to print anything. You just want it to come to stop. So how do we make sure that it doesn't print? So is it clear what's happening here? Here I could repeat this. I did it 1, 2, 3 times. I could run this. I can just say hello again. So it starts again. I can say today is Sunday. So I can say Sunday. Sunday is not equals to quit. I can say Brian. I can say it's sunny. These messages are not equals to quit. So I can do this any number of times. So I don't know ahead of time how many times I will run this thing and how many times it's going to print back out. Are we clear? Then if I type quit, then it stops, but it still prints out the quit. So in this case, this particular example shows you that you can use we have seen the first case where we're printing 10 numbers, where we determined how many times the while loop should run, that we can run it 10 times using a counter. In this case, we don't have a counter, but we have a message which we are using. Say, as long as this particular message is not equals to quit, then we repeat this thing. So you're running this thing for a number of times which is not known ahead of time. Okay? Is it clear?
Yes.
So if we do not want, right now, yes, it stops, but it still makes a mistake of printing quit. We don't want to print the quit message. Okay? We don't want to print this quit message. So we try again. So we modify our thing here. So message, again, we set it to empty string. Then we say while message not equals to quit. Then we ask someone to enter something. Then we get that message. Then we try to print this message. But before we try to print this message, we check if the message is not equals to quit. If the message is not equals to quit, then we print it. If the message is equals to quit, then we don't print it. Are we clear?
Yes.
If message not equals to quit, you print. If the message is equals to message, if this is true, you print. Otherwise, if it's not true, you don't print. Because if it's not true, then message is quit. So we run this again. Say hello Brian. Hello Brian. Okay. So the hello Brian message was stored here. Then it was checked here. If hello Brian is not equals to quit, yes, it's not equals to quit, then it was printed. After printing, then we go back and check if message is not equals to quit. Yeah, hello Brian is not equals to quit. Then we ask again for someone to enter something. Say today is Sunday. Today is Sunday. We enter that. Today is Sunday again. We check here. Is today is Sunday not equals to quit? Yeah, it's not equals to quit. So we print it. Then we repeat again. Rachel is not here. That is another message. Okay. So now that we want it to end, we type quit. When you type quit, this quit is going to be stored in message. Then before we print, we check if message not equals to quit. We print. But now here message quit not equals to quit. That's not true, because quit is equals to true. So this is going to be false, so no printing is going to happen. Are we clear? So we do that. As you can see, we type quit, but it's not printed. So no printing happens there. Is this clear?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's basically how you can repeat a certain task an unknown number of times, because the number of times which a task is going to be repeated depends on the person who is using your computer program. But we have got two ways. Okay, we have got two ways. This way we have done here allows us to carry out a task. Okay, this allows us to carry out a task an unknown number of times. The other way, when you're printing the numbers 0, 1 to 10, that allowed us to carry out a task a certain number of times, a certain known number of times. Okay, so you can repeat your whatever it is you're trying to repeat, either a known number of times, or you can repeat something an unknown number of times. Are we clear? Are we clear?
Yes.
There is another way of trying to avoid this printing the quit as you finish. Okay? For example, here we had message set to an empty string. Okay? We had message set to an empty string. Now here we change. We set this thing. This is something called the flag. We say active set to true. So this flag active, we give it a value of true. Are we clear?
Yes.
Remember there are two things we're doing here. In the first one, you have got this condition here. You've seen this? Message not equals to true. We also have another condition inside here. Message not equals to true. So in the same thing, we've got two conditions. The same condition is appearing twice. Do you see that?
Yes.
But if you just want the condition to appear once, there's something you can do by using something called the flag. So when you use a flag, you say here active, you set active to true, then you say while active. Now why are we saying while active is a condition? Because this active has a value of true. The whole point of conditions is that a condition is going to be evaluated to a true or false value. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah. When you have a condition, that condition, Python is going to look at it. They need to try to evaluate that condition to see whether that condition turns into a true or it turns into a false value. So this while active, that while active is actually true because the value we have put in active is a true value. So this is going to be true. Are we clear?
Yes.
Then we ask someone to enter something. We ask for some information. Then whatever they're going to enter, we're going to store it in message. Then now here is where we're going to do our check. The message they have entered, is it equals to quit? If the message is equals to quit, then we change the value of active. We change the value of active to false. If the message is equals to quit, we change the value of active to false because we want to come out of the while loop. This person has said they want to stop. Otherwise, we just print the message. So this is a different way of doing things. It has got its own places where it's used. Are we clear? So we have got this variable active, we give it a value true, then we check if active is equals to true. If active is equals to true, we ask the person to give us information, then we try to repeat that information. So we get the information, okay? Then we store the information in message. Now we check if message is equals to quit. If the message is equals to quit, then we change active to false. Otherwise, if the message is not equals to quit, then we print the message. If the message is equals to quit, then we change active to false. Here, this one, when it's checked again, the next time it's checked, active is going to be equals to false. Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay, so we can try this. So there, tell me something and I'll repeat it back to you. Enter quit to end the program. So I'll say hello Brian. Hello Brian. So this hello Brian. So remember we have set active to true. And while active, so this is true. So because active is true, that's why we are shown this being asked to enter something. When you enter something hello Brian, this hello Brian is going to be stored in message. Okay. When we come here, we will check if message is equals to quit. What you have entered is hello Brian, so that is not equals to quit. So because it's not equals to quit, active will remain true, and we're going to print out the message. We print out hello Brian. You see that?
Yes.
Next we say today is Sunday. Then this today is Sunday message is going to be stored in this message. Then we check if message is equals to quit. It's not equals to quit. So active remains true. Then we print the message like that. Then we say it's sunny. It's a sunny afternoon. Sunny afternoon. Osaka. Again, this message is not equals to quit. So the whole thing repeats until we type quit. When we type quit, the quit message, the quit is stored in message here. Then we come and check here, message equals to quit. Yes, message is equals to quit. If message is equals to quit, then the value of active changes to false. And we don't print anything. Is that clear? Because you can only do what is under the if or what is under the else. So the fact that we have changed the value of active to false, we don't do anything, then we come and check again here. Now, while active now has a false value, so it just stops. Is this clear?
Yes.
You can also just decide to say, if the message is equals to quit, you stop. Are we clear? Now you don't use a flag, you don't do anything. You're just saying, now you use this thing called the break statement. You say while true, so you type true here. While true, message, you get some input, get some information. Then if the message is equals to quit, then you do this break. This is going to take you out of the loop. It will take you out of the loop, and you immediately are going to stop doing anything. Okay, so let's say run this. So hello, there, that is not equals to quit. The message is not equals to quit. Today is Sunday. That message is not equals to quit. It's okay, if message equals to, it's not. So you just print it. If it's not equals to quit, then you print the message. Okay? Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, if the message is not equal to quit, just print it. Then it's sunny. That is not equal to quit. But the moment you type quit, when the message is equal to quit, then this, if message is equal to quit, this becomes true. When this becomes true, then you break. When you break a loop, you come out of the loop. You stop doing anything. You just come out of the loop. So there are two differences here. There is something called continue. Continue allows you to skip stuff while you're still in the loop. You're going to repeat things, but you skip certain things. Break does not allow you to continue anything. The moment you break out of a loop, it stops. Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay, so it's always very, very important that you find a way of coming out of a loop, because if you don't come out of a loop, your loop is going to go in circles forever, and that is called something called an infinite loop. That's what creates problems. So always, as you are trying to repeat something, yes, you can repeat something a certain number of times. You know ahead of time how many times a particular thing is supposed to be done, but sometimes it's also possible that you do not know ahead of time how many times something should be done. So if you do not know ahead of time how many times something should be done, you need to give a provision of how you are going to stop a particular thing. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so you need to put things in place so that when a particular thing is done, then you can stop. You can use while loops for all sorts of things. For example, you can remove for here, removing all instances of a specific value from a list. So here I create a list called pets. There's cat, dog, goldfish, cat, rabbit, cat. So you can see there's cat here, there's cat all over the place. There's cat here, there's cat there, there's cat here, cat there, cat there. Cat appears 4 times in this list of pets. So there are cat, right? So I check. Now, you want to remove the cats. So you check if there are cats in this list of pets. And how do you do that? You say cat in pets. If cat in pets, if it's there, then it gives you true. If it's not there, then it gives you false. Are we clear?
Yes.
So you want to use this as a condition. Cat in pets. You want to use this as a condition. Say, while cat in pets, then you want to do something. Whether you want to remove the cats, like in this case, you want to remove the cats. So we say, while cat in pets, this is a condition. Then what do you want to do? We want to remove cat from pets. So the first time it's going to remove this cat. So here. So it's going to be true. This cat in pet is going to be true. So then we remove the cat. The cat you're going to remove will be this one. Then again, we check cat in pets. It's going to be true. We'll remove this one. Okay. Then we check again cat in pets. It's going to be true. Then we'll remove this one. Cat in pets is going to be true. Then you remove that one. So in this case, we know that there are 4 cats, but your list might be so large that you don't know ahead of time how many of a particular value you actually have. Are we clear? So when you run this, yeah, we can run this. When you run that, it doesn't show anything. If you print out pets, now you don't have any cats. All the cats have been removed. You see that?
Yes.
You can also check this one. We have seen how to do this. Cat not in pets. If cat is not in pets, it will be true. If it's in pets, it will be false. Cat not in pets, true. So here again, we do the following. We check if while cat not in pets, if this is true, then what do we want to do? We want to add the cat back into pets. There. Then you print cuts. You see the cut has been added there. You see that? So you can actually, these two wild things I've done. The first one, the first while, we use it to remove all instances of cut, no matter how many times they're there. Okay, how many times cut appears in the list, we remove everything. So we do not know ahead of time how many times cut appears in the list, but we just remove everything. Are we clear?
Yes.
This other one, we are using it to say if there is no cut in pets, we want to add cut once. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so here, as you can see, we printed. Now we've got something here. There's dog, there's goldfish, there's rabbit, then there's cat. So dog appears twice now here. You see that?
Yes.
We check dog in pets. True. So we want to remove all instances because dog is appearing twice. We want it to only appear once. But for us to do that, first you have to remove all the dogs, all the times when dog appears in this list. So this is a wild dog in pets. Pets.remove dog. So we remove dogs everywhere where it's appearing. Then we print pets. Okay, so there's goldfish, there's rabbit, cat. Then we want to add the dog. So wild dog, not in pets, we want to add it back. Then we print pets. So now we have goldfish, rabbit, cat, and dog items appearing once at a time. This is how you would use a while loop to make sure each and every item appears only once in a list. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions?
No.
All right. Next, you can also use a while loop to move items from one list to another. You can use a while loop to move items from one list to another. For example, here I have a list of moons which are found in the solar system. Not all of them, but some of them. Then I print this list of moons. Then I create a list of satellites. Okay? I create a list of satellites. Not satellites per se, but fine. Natural satellites. I think it would be better if I say list of natural satellites. Natural satellites. And these natural satellites are the moons. Then natural satellites. Then I want to print these natural satellites. So you can see they're empty. Okay. Now if I do this, I give the list of moons to Boolean. I'm going to get a response. I get a true value. Why am I getting a true value? It's because the list is not empty. The list has got things in it. Are we clear?
Yes.
If your list still has things, then you give this list to the function Boolean. It's going to give you a true or false. If there are things in your list, in your list, then you get a true value. In the case of natural satellites, as you can see, natural satellites doesn't have any items here, so I get a false. So basically, if a list has got things, then you can use the fact that a list has got something or a list does not have something as a condition. Are we clear? you can use the fact that a list has got something or a list does not have something as a condition. So for example, here, while moons, so we know that this moons list has got things on it. So as long as there's something in this list, then it is true. This, when you say while moons, when you put a list of items as a condition, because the list which has got things is enough in itself, you can consider that to be true. Okay? So
Yes.
what do you want to do in this case? You say print popped moon. So print popped moon. So that is here. So moons, then pop. So you delete the last item in the list. That last item in the list, after deleting it, we want to store it in this mode. Then you want to print it. Okay? We want to store it in the moon, then we want to print it. Then here we want to change the type. We want to, the first letter, we want to make it capitalized. Then we want to store it back in moon. Then after storing it back in moon, we want to append. We want to add it to the natural set lines. Then after adding it to natural set lines, we want to print a list of natural set lines. So when you do that, this is what we get. Popped moon, tithe, Dion, Umbriel, Charon, Epetias, Oberon. So all these are the moons. Then after that, this is what we get. This is the list you get, as they are being added to the natural set lines. So you can actually use a while loop to transfer information from, as long as you're deleting that information from the previous list. Okay? To transfer information. Cleverly, you can use it here to transfer information from one list to another, as long as you delete it from the other list. Is it clear what has happened here?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is a specific way of basically using a while loop to delete information from a particular list. You can also use a while loop, for example, in this case, to create a dictionary. So here, I create a dictionary called neighbors, basically Zambia's neighbors. And at the moment, as you can see, this dictionary does not have anything. Okay. Next, I create a flag called active, and I give it a value of true. So I say while active, okay, while active here, while it's true, then I'll ask you for a neighboring country. Then I'll also ask you for the capital of that neighboring country. So the name of the country, I'll store in country. Then the name of the capital, I'll store in this. Then I'll create an entry in this dictionary using neighbors, then the country as the key, then the capital as the value. Then here, I'll ask you whether you want to repeat or not by typing yes or no if you want to enter another country. If in the case that you want to you do not want to enter another country, I'll come here. If repeat.lower is equals to no, then I'll change the flag. Then after changing the flag, that will make the whole thing stop. But if the answer you've entered for repeat is true, then I will not change the flag. It will stay active. You enter the countries. Then after that, when it's the time you decide say no, then we'll print out all the neighbors of which Zambia has. Is this clear on what we're trying to do here? So we're using this to build a dictionary.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'll start. So enter name of country, name of neighbor, I'll say Angola. Say Angola. Then the capital, say Rwanda. Do you want to repeat? I'll say yes, I want to repeat. Then what other one? I'll say Tanzania. Then the capital, Dodoma. Then it asked me again, do you want to repeat? I'll say yes, I want to repeat. Then I'll go to which country? Malawi. Then the capital, Lilongwe. Then again, do I want to do this? I say yes, I want to do this. Then which other country? I'll say DR say DR Congo. Capital, I'll say Kinshasa. Kinshasa, I think if I'm correct. Then do I want to repeat? I'll say yes. Which other one? I'll say Zimbabwe. I'll say Zimbabwe. The capital, I'll say Harare. Harare. Do you want another country? Yes. I'll say Botswana. I think Botswana, like that. Then what the capital? Gaborone. Do I want to repeat? Now I say no. I don't want to do that anymore. So when I say the no, the repeat thing here, say no. The no is going to be stored in repeat. Then I come here, repeat.lower equals to no. So if once it becomes equals to no, then the active flag is going to be changed to false. So this will make this whole thing stop. So I have created a way of stopping. Are we clear? I don't know how many countries the person knows as Zambia's neighbors, but I have created a way of stopping. So it's very, very important when you're doing these things that you create inside your loop a way for you to stop. So when I say no, then it stops. Then after stopping, it prints out the dictionary I've created. Angola, Rwanda, Tanzania, Dodoma, Malawi, Lilongwe, DR, Kinshasa, Zimbabwe, Harare, Botswana, Gaborone. I left out Mozambique and Namibia because maybe those are the only countries I know are Zambia's neighbors. The other countries, maybe I don't know them. Are we clear?
Yes.
So, the thing here is, you can use a while loop to repeat events a set number of times, a predetermined number of times if you are using a counter. Okay, if you are using a counter, you can use a while loop to repeat an event or pieces of code a predetermined number of times, as long as that counter is increased or decreased so that the condition you have set in the while loop becomes false. The other way to use a while loop is that you can try to use a while loop in such a way that as long as a particular condition is not met, then it should continue. But at the same time, you should make a provision inside the while loop for the condition which you have put in the while loop to be met. This is a deliberate thing you're supposed to put inside. There has to be a way for people to come out of this while loop. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck forever and ever and ever, and your computer is going to crash. Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay, so that is the first part of our lesson today. So let's go for a break. Let us meet at last time people didn't come back. I don't know what happened last time.
We resolved to continue today.
When we went for when we went for a break on Sunday, people didn't come back. It went forever. Okay, so let us meet.
I think maybe being tired.
Okay, so let us meet at 16:40, so that we continue the second part.
Oh.
Yeah, 16:40.
Right.
Yeah, please don't forget.
Okay.